You wake up and something's missing. No morning stiffness, no signal down there, just silence. You brush it off. I'm just getting older, you tell yourself. But what if that silence is your body screaming for help? Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you woke up with a strong morning erection? Not just a little stir, not a vague sensation. I mean the kind that reminds you, deep in your bones, I'm still alive. I'm still a man. If that hasn't happened in a while, I want you to stay with me, because what you've been taught, that it's just aging, is only half the truth. And the other half? It could save your circulation, your energy, and maybe even your heart. You see, losing your morning erection isn't just a bedroom problem. It's not about sex, it's about blood. It's about the health of the tiny arteries and nerves that feed your pelvic area, the same arteries that also feed your heart and brain. And if those are blocked, if the blood isn't flowing where it should first thing in the morning, it's not just your manhood that's at risk, it's your entire vascular system. In fact, in a groundbreaking study by the American Heart Association, men who consistently lost their morning erections were significantly more likely to develop heart problems within just a few years, because these morning signals, they are your early warning system. And they are trying to tell you something important. But here's the good news. You can restore it. No pills, no surgeries, no awkward conversations, just understanding how your body really works and giving it what it needs. And that's exactly what this video is going to do. I'll show you the 3 biggest silent causes of morning dysfunction, what they're doing to your circulation, and most importantly, how to reverse them starting tomorrow morning. But before we get into that, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Dr. Lily Anderson. I'm a clinical nutritionist and men's health specialist. For over 25 years, I've worked with men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. Men who are strong in spirit, sharp in mind, but quietly losing something they couldn't name. Some came to me feeling exhausted. Others were confused about their sudden lack of desire or the missing morning signal they used to wake up with daily. Most of them were told the same thing. It's just age. Nothing you can do. But they were never told why. They were never told that this shift, this silent change in their morning routine, might actually be their body's first alarm that blood flow is slowing, that the tiny vessels feeding their lower region are no longer opening the way they used to, that testosterone, nitric oxide, and circulation are all part of one delicate, powerful system that needs support, especially after 60. And no, you don't need a prescription bottle to fix it. What you need is understanding. Clear, respectful, science-backed guidance. Not shame, not fear, not hype. In this video, I'll walk you through what your missing morning erections really mean, the 3 most common hidden causes behind it, including one that has nothing to do with hormones, and finally, 5 small daily habits that can help restore blood flow, rebuild confidence, and reignite your natural rhythm. Starting from the inside out, you deserve answers that make sense. You deserve to feel like yourself again. Not 20, not perfect, but strong, aware, and alive. And most of all, you deserve to know this isn't your fault, but it is in your hands now. So let's begin. Let's talk about the real daily habits that affect your blood flow and manhood every morning, often without you even knowing. Habit number 1. Warm water before coffee. Wake your arteries. First, most men reach for coffee the moment they wake up. But here's the problem. Your body wakes up dehydrated, your blood thicker, and your vessels tighter than they are at any other point in the day. And what do? We slam caffeine, which spikes cortisol and further constricts the very blood vessels that need to open for a natural morning erection. The solution? Start with a full glass of warm water before your first sip of coffee. Warm water helps dilate vessels, thin the blood, and prime circulation. especially in the pelvic area. A study in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension found that morning hydration improved endothelial function and nitric oxide production by over 20% within 30 minutes. When to do it? Within 5 minutes of waking up. 250 to 300 milliliters of warm, not hot, water. Bonus, add a pinch of lemon to support liver detox and hormone balance. Habit number 2, 5-minute morning stretch focused on hips and pelvis. Morning movement equals blood flow activation. But here's the key. Not cardio, not lifting weights. Just gentle pelvic-focused stretching. Movements like hip circles, pelvic tilts forward bends, leg raises in bed. These stretches stimulate blood to flow back into the pelvic basin, reopen compressed capillaries, and signal nitric oxide release. Harvard Health reports that light stretching improves vascular elasticity, especially in older adults, and improved vascular elasticity equals stronger, more responsive morning flow. When to do it? Right after water before breakfast, just 5 to 7 minutes. Breathe deeply during movement to support nitric oxide. Habit number 3, spinach or arugula in your breakfast. Nitrate bomb for blood flow. Yes, greens. But not just any greens. We're talking nitrate-rich vegetables, especially spinach and arugula. Why? Because these contain natural nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide, the molecule that opens blood vessels and allows blood to reach down there effectively. Think of nitric oxide like the green light for your arteries. Without it, no blood, no erection, period. 1 cup of cooked spinach contains over 800 milligrams of nitrate, and just 3 servings a week can significantly improve flow-mediated dilation. How to use it? Blend spinach into a morning smoothie, or sauté arugula with eggs. Works best when eaten within 2 hours of waking. Habit number 4, avoid heavy carbs at breakfast. They kill your flow. Here's what most men eat in the morning: toast, cereal, pancakes, sugary drinks. And here's what that does: spikes your blood sugar, increases insulin, causes inflammation, stiffens blood vessels. And stiff vessels, they don't let blood move freely, especially to small, sensitive arteries like those in the penis. Instead of sugary carbs, switch to eggs plus greens, Greek yogurt plus berries, oats plus seeds, if tolerated well. The Journal of Sexual Medicine confirmed that men with more stable blood sugar had better early morning erectile response, even without testosterone therapy. Habit number 5, evening screen detox. Protect your night hormones. Here's what 90% of men don't realize. Your morning erection starts the night before. Your body produces nitric oxide, testosterone, and melatonin during deep, uninterrupted sleep. But blue light from screens, TV, phone, tablet, suppresses melatonin production, throwing off your sleep cycle and your hormone rhythm. The result? Poor sleep, low testosterone, no morning wood. What to do instead? Turn off screens 1 hour before bed. Keep the bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Try magnesium or herbal teas to improve deep sleep stages. A study in the journal Sleep Health showed men who followed sleep hygiene rituals for 4 weeks restored their morning erections by 43%, even without changing diet or exercise. Summary of all 5 habits. Warm water. First thing to hydrate blood vessels. Gentle pelvic stretches to reopen flow. Spinach, arugula breakfast to boost nitric oxide, low sugar, low carb morning meals to keep blood vessels soft, night screen detox to protect hormone rhythm and morning response. These habits are free. They don't require pills. And most importantly, they work with your body, not against it. In the next section, I want to show you what these habits look like in real life, through the story of a man who thought his morning fire was gone for good, until one small shift changed everything. His name was Thomas, 68 years old, retired electrician, 2 grown sons, 4 grandchildren, and a house he'd built with his own hands. From the outside, Thomas looked like the kind of man who had everything under control, But when he came to my clinic, he wasn't there for chest pain, blood sugar, or even prostate trouble. He sat down quietly, stared at the floor, and said something that many men are afraid to admit out loud. "I haven't woken up hard in almost 6 months." He wasn't embarrassed. He was afraid. Not because of what it meant for sex, but because he didn't feel like himself anymore. He told me how he used to wake up every morning with a sense of power, of readiness. Even into his 60s, that morning signal gave him confidence. But now it was gone, and with it, his energy, his clarity, his spark. "I feel like I'm slowly fading," he said. "My body's here, but something's disconnected." Like many men, Thomas had blamed it on aging. He'd tried vitamins. He even considered testosterone injections, but something told him to look deeper. So we did. We ran blood work. Testosterone was low, but not dangerously low. Blood pressure was slightly elevated, but what stood out was this. His circulation markers were poor. His endothelial function, the health of the inner lining of his blood vessels, was weak. His nitric oxide levels were depleted. In simple terms, his blood wasn't moving the way it used to. Not at night, not in the morning, not down there. This wasn't a hormone problem. It was a flow problem. And here's what's important. Thomas didn't need a prescription. What he needed was consistency in the right daily actions. So he started small. He committed to drinking a glass of warm water before his coffee, doing 5 minutes of gentle pelvic stretches while the kettle boiled, swapping toast and jam for spinach and eggs, turning off his TV an hour before bed, adding short evening walks to help flush his legs and boost sleep. No pills, no devices, no pressure, just rhythm, just flow. The first week, nothing happened. But by week 2, he said something had changed. He woke up not with an erection, but with sensation, a tingling, a heaviness, a hint of return. By week 4, it came back. The morning he woke up with a full, firm erection, the first in over 6 months. He said it felt like someone had switched the lights back on in his body. His posture changed. His voice felt steadier. He told me, "It's not about sex. It's about feeling alive again." And he was right. The morning erection isn't just about intimacy. It's about blood, oxygen, vitality. It's your body whispering, "I'm still working. I'm still here." Thomas didn't reverse time. He didn't become 20 again, but he reclaimed something deeper, trust in his own body, and that made all the difference. In the next section, I'll show you exactly what was happening inside Thomas's body, the science of blood flow, nitric oxide, and why that morning signal is one of the most important indicators of cardiovascular health for any man over 60. Let's break it down simply and clearly so you can understand what your own body might be trying to tell you. Let's go deeper. Let's break it down. No jargon, no lectures, just a clear picture of what's actually happening in your body each morning and why it matters more than you think. Imagine your blood vessels as a network of tiny garden hoses. When you were younger, those hoses were brand new, flexible, smooth, clear. You could turn on the tap and water would flow instantly, evenly, and with strong pressure. But as we age, something begins to happen inside those hoses. They stiffen. Plaque builds up like debris. The inner lining becomes damaged, making it harder for blood to move freely, especially to smaller, more sensitive areas like your pelvic region. This inner lining is called the endothelium, and it plays a huge role in your ability to have strong, spontaneous, natural erections. Why? Because your endothelium produces a powerful molecule called nitric oxide, or NO for short. Nitric oxide is like the master switch that tells your blood vessels, "Hey, open up, let the blood flow." Without nitric oxide, no matter how much testosterone you have or how healthy your heart is, blood can't move where it needs to go, and that includes down there. Now here's the tricky part. After age 50, your body's ability to produce nitric oxide drops by nearly 50%. By 60, it can be even lower, especially if you're not sleeping well, eating processed foods, or under chronic stress. That's why even men with normal testosterone levels still lose their morning erections. It's not about desire. It's not even about hormones. It's about flow. And your morning erection? That's your body's daily test of blood flow. If the vessels are open, if nitric oxide is active, and if your nervous system is rested, you wake up with firmness, even without a single sexual thought. It's called a nocturnal penile tumescence, a completely natural, healthy response that happens during the deepest phases of sleep. And when it doesn't happen, it's a sign that one of three systems is out of balance. Your blood vessels are too narrow or inflamed, your nitric oxide levels are too low to trigger expansion. Your nervous system is stuck in stress mode, blocking natural reflexes. Let's take each of those quickly. First, blood vessels. Think of trying to water your garden with a hose that's bent, clogged, and full of cracks. Even if the water pressure is strong at the tap, it won't reach the plants. That's what happens when your arteries are hardened or narrowed with age. And guess what? The penis has some of the smallest arteries in your body. They're usually the first to show signs of poor circulation, sometimes years before a heart attack ever occurs. Second, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide doesn't come from nowhere. Your body makes it from nutrients, mostly from leafy greens, beets, and certain amino acids like L-arginine and L-citrulline. But if your diet is low in those and high in processed sugar, alcohol, or inflammation-causing foods, your nitric oxide runs low. No nitric oxide equals no signal to open vessels equals no morning erection. Third, the nervous system. Stress is a silent killer. But even worse, it locks your body in survival mode. When cortisol is high and your body thinks you're in danger, it shuts down non-essential systems, like reproduction. You can't run from a tiger and be ready for intimacy at the same time. And your body doesn't know the difference between a tiger and late-night emails, financial stress, or unresolved fear. That's why deep sleep is so important, because it's the only time your nervous system truly resets. And it's the only window when nitric oxide, testosterone, and blood pressure align perfectly to support healthy erections, even unconsciously. So when you lose your morning wood, it's not just a man problem. It's not something to ignore or laugh off. It's a warning light on the dashboard of your vascular system. And here's the good news. Unlike many chronic health issues, this one is highly reversible. Blood vessels can reopen, nitric oxide can be rebuilt, hormones can rebalance, and it doesn't take a miracle. Just a daily rhythm that supports what your body is already trying to do. You've seen how Thomas turned it around. You've learned the habits that support your system. Now the question becomes, how do you start? And how do you keep going, especially when life gets in the way? That's what we'll talk about next. Because no matter your age, your story isn't over. You haven't missed your chance. Let's take the next step together. Maybe you're thinking, this all makes sense, but I'm already in my 60s. Isn't it too late to change now? Let me tell you something that I've learned, not just from science, but from sitting with hundreds of men across the years. It's never too late, but it's always too easy to give up. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. You don't need a strict routine, a new diet, or a younger body. What you need is a beginning, a reason, a rhythm, a moment where you say, today, I choose to show up, even just a little. Remember Thomas. He didn't fix everything on day one. He didn't chase a miracle. He just started with one glass of warm water, one gentle stretch, and a plate of eggs and greens instead of toast and jam. That's it. He didn't even believe it would work, but he did it anyway, because something inside him wanted to stop fading and start returning. And that's all healing really is, a slow, steady return. A return to sensation, to energy, to confidence, to waking up and feeling like your body is still on your side. You might not feel a shift tomorrow. You might even doubt the process halfway through. That's normal. But give your body 7 days, then 14, then 30. Not perfection, just consistency. Because the body, even after years of neglect, is always listening, always responding, always waiting for a reason to heal. I've seen men in their 70s, even 80s, come back from the brink, not to run marathons, not to impress anyone, but to feel whole again, to sit up in bed one morning, feel that familiar firmness, and quietly whisper, "There I am." That moment is possible for you, not as a fantasy, but as a biological reality. If you give your body what it's asking for, and what it needs is small, simple, but consistent. So start with one habit: warm water, a quiet stretch, turning the screen off before bed, one spinach smoothie. Let that be your signal to yourself, your way of saying, "I haven't given up." Not yet. Because the truth is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up, more often than not, and healing will take it from there. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for caring enough about your body to listen, to learn, and maybe, just maybe, to begin again. This wasn't an easy topic. Morning erections, blood flow, aging, they're things many men avoid talking about, even with their doctors, even with themselves. But the truth is, these changes affect more than just your body. They touch your confidence, your relationships, your energy, your sense of self. And by watching this video, you've already done something that 90% of men never do. You faced it. You asked the quiet question most are too afraid to voice. And if this message spoke to you, if you saw yourself in Thomas's story or in the science we explored today, then I invite you to do one small thing. Leave a comment. You don't need to write a lot, just a number. Maybe 1 if this hit home. 2 if you're ready to try the habits. 3 if you've struggled with this and want to share. Because when you speak up, even anonymously, you might give another man the courage to do the same. And that ripple matters. It matters more than likes, more than views. It's how we build a space where aging isn't shameful. It's just honest. And where men support men, not with ego, but with understanding. If you found this video helpful, you can like it, share it with someone you trust, or even subscribe for more science-backed guidance made for men over 60. But most of all, take this moment as a turning point. Not because a doctor told you to, not because of fear, but because you decided that your vitality matters. Your mornings matter. You matter. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for choosing yourself. And thank you for believing, even if just a little, that it's not too late, because it's not. And I'll be here next time whenever you're ready to take the next step. Take care of your body. It still remembers how to heal. Let's help it do just that.